All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make more sales today in your launches with these 3 simple steps. And I'm just going to say, you don't need to have all the fancy funnels, and you certainly don't need to spend hours and hours on social media. You can launch without feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, exhausted, and you can still have fun and make it easy and make more money. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ken Westgar, and this is exactly what I teach my clients. I teach them how to grow and scale their business with fun and simple money making launches without feeling stressed out all the time. Now, if you haven't downloaded the guide, I highly recommend that you do that because we're going to go along with that. You can write things down and just some few things in there that you want to make sure that you have. So click the link above, download the guide, and you get it in an email right away. All right, 3 steps to getting more sales with your launches today. Let's jump into training. Launches are an experience, so we need to treat it as such. You've probably been to a movie premiere and you probably were excited to see the movie way before you even bought the tickets. And obviously, there's a reason for that, other than starring your favorite actors, obviously. But studios have perfected launching for decades. When studios have an upcoming movie, they promote the hell out of it. They do behind the scenes from the actors, they do interviews, there's teasers, there's trailers, posters, and billboards, and so much more. But you can see why you are excited way before you actually go to the movie premiere, right? Because they know how important it is to get the word out there, get people talking about it, and sharing it with their friends and family before and way before the actual release date. And that is why studios like Marvel has grossed over $25 billion, making it the biggest movie franchise ever. I mean, they have the Avengers, Iron Man, Spider Man, Captain Marvel, so many more. But every time they put a movie out, they go through that process of building the demand and the desire for that movie before the premiere. And obviously, they create an experience around that. They create an experience when the movie actually launch. You got the red carpet, celebrities coming to it, all that stuff. But it's not just in the movie business. It's in the book business as well, like Harry Potter series. Sold over 500 million copies worldwide. Did they just put the book on the shelf? No. They launched a book. They had a book launch. They went on a book tour with the author. And that's building the demand and desire for the book. And we even see it in the online business industry as well. People like Jeff Walker, who wrote the book Launch, which now is basically the blueprint for every launch out there, but his net worth is estimated to be $20 million because he knows how to use launches when he starts selling his products. So there's no doubt that the launches are by far the most effective way to grow and scale your business. So let me take you through the launching by choice method. Now, the launching by choice method consists of 3 elements, 3 pieces. Now, the first one is magnetic messaging. You need to have a messaging that attracts people to you. And you need to show them that you understand the problems, that you have the solution to the problem, and how you can help them go from point A to point B. Basically, this is transformation that they'll get. You need to meet them where they're currently at. Now, all of this included with language patterns and all that, that will help you create that magnetic messaging. And without the magnetic messaging, your message is going to fall flat and you're not going to make the sales. Now, the second piece to the launching by choice method is having a $1 million offer. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to make $1 million off your offer right out of the gate. That's not what we mean here, but it means that you want it to make you feel like it's $1 million offer. You want to really just scream on top of your lungs and share with the world and just show how much you love your own offer because you know it's $1 million offer. Obviously, if you don't love your offer, who's going to buy it? How can you expect anybody to buy something you don't love? They're not going to love it either. Now, the third piece to this method is intentional energy. This is basically the foundation of this method. If you don't have the energy behind the messaging or the offer, it's not going to work. You're going to make some sales, sure, but it's not going to be exponential, not by far. And the same thing goes if you have the energy and you have the messaging, well, you don't have an offer, that you love, then nobody's going to buy it. Sure, you might make some sales, but not really. And the same thing goes for energy and offer. You have both of those, but you lack the messaging part. Well, then people are not going to connect with it. They're not going to resonate with it. They don't understand how you can help them. So it's only when you have all three of these pieces all together, that's where you find the sweet spot. That's where you're going to make more sales. Make sense? So on a scale from 1 to 10, if you haven't downloaded the guide yet, I recommend you do that. Click on the button above and you'll get it in an email right away. But I want you to rate how confident you are in your messaging right now. Write that down on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being super unclear, not confident at all, and 10 being obviously crystal clear on your messaging. You know exactly who you're talking to, how to solve the problem, all of that. And then I want you to rate how in love you are with your offer. Same way. If you hate your offer, don't really know what you're selling, and it's a 1. But obviously, if you feel like you have that $1 million offer, then it's a 10. And thirdly, rate your energy in your launch. If you are 1, you are dreading the launch, you don't really want to launch, you hate it. 10, obviously, you are super excited, hyped, you getting ready, you can't wait till you get to the next one. So hopefully you've done that, and now you probably also see that you need to think about where you're currently at. So if you're a 1 to 5, that would be in the red zone. That means you have some work to do. And if you are a 6 to 8, that's in the yellow zone. You are probably doing okay, but you could do better. And obviously, if you're 9 to 10, then you're in green zone. You only need to make some minor tweaks, to be honest. But most people end up somewhere in the yellow zone. Now, launch is all about 2 things. We like to keep it simple, so it's only 2 things we need to focus on. Number 1 is increasing people. The more people you get into launch, the more people you have to actually offer your product or your program or your course. And the second piece is increasing performance. So the better the launch is doing, in terms of how it's performing, the more sales you're likely to make, the higher the conversion rate will be. Now, obviously, if you're missing one of these, you're not getting the most out of your launch. Let's see what we can do to increase people and increase performance. So increasing people is 4 things that you can do, really. And number 1 is having a platform. So having a platform where you can communicate with people is obviously the most important thing, because if you don't have a way to communicate with people, then how are you going to reach them? So you can do that through a podcast. You can do it through social media, obviously, where Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, I don't know, whichever platform you feel like you want to use. And obviously, emails is a huge platform for you to use as well. And you can also use a combination of these, but I wouldn't recommend using too many platforms, because then you kind of scatter yourself and spread yourself a little thin. Now, the second piece that you can do is make sure you have a runway. When you do launch, make sure you have the time to build up that demand and desire, just like I talked about, they do with the movies. Spend that time promoting it. Make sure people get engaged into it. That is a great way to build up a runway by sharing it with other people using your platform. Now, third piece is ads, obviously. This is a simple way for you to get more people, get new people into your launch. Spending money on ads. Is it going to be easy? Probably not, but it's highly beneficial if you know what you're doing. And lastly, affiliates. It's a great way to get in front of other people's audiences, and they will connect with you through them. So as you can see, 4 simple ways to increase people into your launch. If you feel like you are not good at this, then obviously this is where you need to focus on, getting more people into your launch. Now, the second piece, like I said, increasing performance. How do you do that? Well, messaging, like we talked about. You need to have that magnetic messaging that attracts people, and it needs to be solid. Because if the messaging is not working, well, then people are not going to stick around and not going to listen to what you have to say, because you are not showing them that you understand what they're going through and what problems they have and how you can help them solve those problems. So super important to have your messaging dialed in. The second thing is the offer, just like we talked about before. You need to have that $1 million offer. And when messaging and offer working together, that's when you kind of have this winning recipe. That's when you know that the more people you put into this launch, the more people are going to convert. So it's very scalable when you get to this point. But there's a third piece, and it's user experience. And that's from anything from the customer service to the design on your sales page. It's all about creating as little friction as possible so that they have a great experience. And that's what I said. Your launch is an experience. So if you can make that experience a great experience, then it's likely that they will convert. But what do you need to prioritize though? There's a hierarchy here. We always like to start with that one person. Know exactly who you're talking to. Understand what they're thinking, what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're feeling, all of that. I'm not talking about knowing, where they live, how old they are, if they have family, if they're married or not. None of that. That's not the important thing. But understanding them and the problems is the most important thing. Next, you have the messaging. Like we talked about, this is the third time I mentioned messaging. So you understand how important this is. It really is the foundation of how you're going to make the best out of your launches. And then you have the offer. That's the third time I mentioned that as well, actually. Having that $1 million offer, having that magnetic messaging. If you have these three things, you know exactly who you talk to, you understand them, you show that you understand them, you have the offer that helps them solve the problem, well, then it's highly likely that you could pretty much do anything in your launch. But obviously, you need to have a strategy. You need to have a plan. This is getting that big overview of what this launch is going to look like. But then you get to the mechanism. But if you do everything right here, if you do the message offer, you know exactly who you're talking to, then the mechanism almost becomes irrelevant, because we know that you can do a webinar, you can do a live challenge, you could do a live launch video series. It doesn't really matter, because everything is so solid. It's built on a good foundation, so you can pretty much do whatever you want to. And then you have tactics all the way on top. Now that's the fun stuff, the easy, simple things that you can do. Now, obviously, it's easy to get distracted by these because it's simple and fun, but it is not the thing that's going to make or break your launch. So, make sure that you do everything else before you actually get to the tactics. It's the small things that makes it a little tweak that makes it a little bit better, that makes a user experience just a tiny tip better, but that's it. But I'm not saying no, don't use it, but it's no point in starting with tactics and forgetting about everything else. Now, when we're launching, a lot of us are launching by ourselves. Maybe you don't have a team, maybe you just have a VA, who knows? But there's a lot of roles that we fill in a launch. Now, first of all, we are obviously the strategists because we plan out the launch, make sure that we know what we're doing, but you're also the launch manager, so you manage the entire launch. Those two alone is quite a big task to do. But then there's also, you're responsible for the marketing, you're responsible for the execution of the launch, and you're responsible for maybe affiliates. Already we have 5 big roles that we're filling. So no wonder we're feeling overwhelmed. But trust me, there's more. Now, if you look underneath both marketing, execution, and affiliates, well, we're going to find a lot of stuff. So underneath marketing, we have ads. And then, ads, there's Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok. I mean, every platform has ads. And you can't be an expert in all of this, but on top of that, you need to write the copy. You need to figure out what image you want to use or a video that you want to use, and you need to set it up. You need to understand how to check out the results. How is it performing? There's a lot of stuff that goes underneath ads as well. But on top of that, you're a social media manager. So that means you managing multiple platforms. Maybe you're on Instagram and YouTube and then TikTok. Suddenly, that's three more platforms that you're managing all at once. But you're also the copywriter. So you're writing copy for emails, sales page, ads, obviously, social media posts, just to name a few. I'm sure there's more. But you're also the content creator. You're creating all the content. So as you can see, marketing, that's a big one, right? And you're doing all this by yourself, maybe. And then under execution, you have customer support, general admin, obviously. And there's tech, which doesn't always work out the way you want it to during a launch. So you might have to troubleshoot some. And then there's the design, obviously. And then affiliates, you are the affiliate manager. You're managing the affiliates. And you're generally assisting the affiliates. You provide them with content. Now, this is just the launch org chart. You also have the business org chart. So you're already filling a total of 15 roles just doing a role. Just doing the launch. Imagine how many roles you fill in a business. But let's focus on this one. I would like for you to write down how many of these 15 roles you fill when you're launching. I'm sure there's a lot, and hopefully we can do something about that. But how many of these roles can you outsource today? Hopefully there is a few that you can do, but you don't have to have one person for each of these 15 roles. You can, they can have multiple roles. And obviously you don't have to have an entire team. You can start with one person. It doesn't have to be full-time. It can be part-time. If you're not sure how to go about this and hiring a person, let me know. Send me a DM because I have a step-by-step process of how to hire someone. It worked out really well for me. I have a VA that I had for at least 2 years now, and he's great. So just let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram, and I will send you my process. So here are your action steps. Follow these steps, and you will start to see increase in your sales. So have that magnetic messaging, have the $1 million offer. Make sure you are intentional with energy, and you can love your offer and get behind, get confident with your messaging. And then figure out if you need to focus on increasing people or increasing performance of your launch. Plus, make sure that you prioritize correctly. Start with a one person messaging, offer, strategy, mechanism, and then tactics. All right. And if you haven't downloaded a guide, like I said, do it now. Click the button above and you'll get it in your email. And, send me a DM on Instagram because I would love to hear how this training went for you. I would love to hear your results, how you rated yourself, where you are currently and what you see that you need to work on. And maybe we can see if we can find you the steps to go further. And obviously, if you need help with this, you know where to find me on Instagram at Ken Westcar. All right, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching the training and talk to you soon.